Well, apparently we're back, Carson.
We are.
We're here live in a room together.
We are.
We're not on Zoom.
We haven't done this since last year.
Holy cow.
Ha ha.
Of course, last year was 2 weeks ago. Oh, I see the joke you were making. I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you are watching us on YouTube, you will see that we are sitting next to each other live in the room, and our best friend, Will, is sitting next to us. He sits on the floor.
Yeah. You don't have to see that, though.
He's kind of a hippie. Isn't Will kind of a hippie?
In a way.
How would you...
I'll take that.
You're not Gen Z, are you? You millennial? What are you? I don't even know what that means. What's millennial? Like 30s? I don't know.
What is millennial? Like 90, right? Like 80s, 90s?
What? That's Gen X.
Millennial is like
All right.
people like 29 to almost 40 now.
Who are millennials?
So what are you, Gen Z?
81 to 96.
You looked it up.
Yeah. It's 81 to 96.
Well, we all know what I am.
Yeah, I'm prime Gen Z.
Yeah, so am I. I'm Gen Z.
Oh, for God's
What
sake.
you're
A fucking boomer. What do you think? What do you think?
You're not a boomer.
Yeah, I'm at the tail end of the baby.
Yeah, at the end. You're on the cusp, I think. I think you're on the cusp.
Well, all I know is everybody your age says, okay, boomer. That's what makes me a boomer, whether I am or not.
What are the years of baby boomers? Yeah, you're on the cusp.
Yeah, I was born in 1960.
Yeah, you're on the cusp.
Everyone is at home now doing the math.
Yeah.
This asshole's 65 years old.
If they did the math correctly.
Well, yeah, you can always remember my age because I was born in a year ending in a 0.
Same.
Oh, yeah?
2000.
Oh, that's
See, that's a fun one. Then the year is your age. Yeah.
Holy Christ.
Sometimes, yeah.
I really don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, this is an acting podcast. You never know it from the way we talk.
Well, we're changing it. It's going to be a podcast on
On
generations.
generational. Well, there's a generation younger than you guys coming up. Like, you guys are old enough to look at younger people and go, what the hell is with these young people?
Yeah, there is. What is it? Gen Alpha? Is that what they're calling
What
it?
the hell is that?
Ridiculous name.
I don't know what
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. The only thing I know, you guys, 6'7".
Oh, dear. I'm cutting that out of the podcast.
It doesn't mean anything. That's the point.
See, you know more about that than Will or I. That's.
Well, I have younger, nieces and nephews, etc.
Right.
It means nothing, and God bless them. They should. Every generation had their thing that means nothing.
Well, that's the internet. Is like, are you involved in the nothingness? Like, there's internet lingo to like a handshake of nothingness. You know.
Absolutely. We all should have that in our lives. Okay. Is it too late to say welcome?
Yeah. You're not welcome.
Hey.
We're here now.
Yeah. You can't say welcome when we've already been talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's.
So let's just say, here we are. It's not a Meisner podcast with Carson, Kevin, and Will. The last episode, we talked about crafting. And today we're going to talk about a subset of crafting in our hopes of doing what we always wish to do, which is to be more clear. We want young actors to see that acting, the craft of acting and the technique of acting is actually clear and practical. It's not woo-woo. It's not like, just throw some stuff out there and see if it sticks. It's like, no, you sit down and you do sequential work,
Yeah. It's
So
a craft.
It's a craft.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about implanted meanings. And all day I've been telling Will and Carson that I don't know if I remember what they are. It's been so long since I've taught that
Well, maybe you do, and it's an implanted meaning.
Oh, see what just happened? It's
there you go.
implanted in me that I do know what these are, and so I should just stop worrying. And if I start talking, they'll just come out.
Yep.
We'll do that.
Open yourself up to a central nervous system experience,
Oh, for
Kevin.
God's sake. I've created a monster. It's alive. It's alive. We'll be back after our intro. It should not be acting training. It should be actor training.
Am I a good actor?
Like me doing. It's not a Meisner podcast.
There it is.
We're back from our intro, and I'm drinking this throat coat tea, which I hate. Every time I take a sip, Carson just busts out laughing because I make a face.
Well, because you keep drinking it.
I have to because of my stupid allergies. I have to clear my throat. You don't want me coughing into the mic all day, do you?
No. There's got to be another way.
There is another way. I just don't want to invest in it. I could quit.
Just quit the podcast?
Quit the pod.
Or quit talking?
Quit talking.
Yeah.
Quit the podcast and get on with my damn life.
Yeah.
You know I'm retired. One would never know.
No.
I work more since I'm retired. Anyway, speaking of, should we make an announcement that we are asking our listeners to write to us?
Yeah, we should. That's a great thing.
How do you want to phrase that? What do you want to say?
Yeah, so last season, we ended season 1 with a kind of tell us what you know, tell us what you don't know, what made sense, what didn't of the previous episodes of season 1. And we're going to essentially do that again about anything that you heard this season or last season.
Yeah,
it doesn't
really,
matter.
anything.
That you disagree with is great.
Yes.
You want more clarification on from Kevin, hypotheticals, anything. So write to us, and I'll put the email in the podcast episode description. It's meisnerpodcast@gmail.com or Instagram @meisnerpodcast. And send us some questions, and I will curate a list of a few that I think are interesting and fit, and I'll give them to Kevin, and we'll go through them for the last episode. It's kind of like a talk back you would have at the end of a normal acting class.
Right. Yeah. At the end of an acting class, we would say, okay, let's review or let's wrap it up in a way. But I like that you said that we're very interested in people who disagree with us. I'm also interested in people who might say, I know what you're talking about, but this is how I phrase it.
Right.
Like, let's hear it differently. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not, I think it's just, we're reminding both ourselves and the listener that it's not, nothing set in stone, you know? This is just one pathway to do one thing that there are no rules for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like, I've said this before, I like that we have teachers who follow us.
Mm-hmm.
I like every now and then we'll get an email from someone who says, I'm teaching a high school class or a college class in this country and abroad. I mean, people in England and, you know.
Yeah.
And so they'll say things like, can you clarify this? Or I have my class listen to one of your episodes and it was a great topic for conversation. I just really, that makes me more excited than anything about this podcast, like that people would use it in a way to edify themselves in terms of what acting is and how to approach it, you know. So that's good. All right. So today we're going to talk about implanted meanings, which is part of crafting. Last time we talked about what crafting is and how do you do it. And we talked about that it boils down to questions, knowing to ask questions and knowing which questions to ask. And those questions cover the entire script, obviously. But we left off by saying circumstances and relationships, right? If you know what the circumstances are and you know what the relationship is, you can get started asking your questions rooted in that, right? But here's where young people get a little confused because they'll say to me, what about this meaning that turns up on page 5, you know? And I've actually had people sort of misuse the language that we use or the vocabulary that we use. They'll say, yeah, I was prepping on this meaning that's on page 5. You can't prep on a meaning that pops up on page 5. Prep is only for the coming to the door, right? You daydream off stage when it takes You come in alive with internal experience, and you attach it to the sensual world. But what happens on page 5 when I say to you, hey, be quiet, Grandma Sylvia's upstairs sleeping, and then you and I have to go, well, who the hell's Grandma Sylvia? And who is she to us, So here's where we start with this notion of implanted meanings. It starts with a phrase that I have said before, and I know Carson and Will like this. There's no such thing as a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that to my students, they go crazy. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So in our last episode, I talked about how my students would always get excited when it was time for me to give them scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, okay, next week I'm going to give you your scenes. And they would just fall, yes. And I would say, I don't know why you're so excited. There's no such thing as a scene. And then they'd be like, we would like our money back. And I heard Carnegie Mellon has a good program. So I'm going to go there instead of Rutgers because you're fucking nuts. I would say, if there's no such thing as a scene, then what is there? Or why do we say there's no such thing as a scene, And it's because it implies that you, the actor, know
Yeah.
that there are 10 pages ahead of you and everything that happens on those 10 pages. You're going to act in a scene. Well, that implies you know what's going to happen and what's going on. So, of course, the way to phrase it is your character hasn't read the play. They don't know what's going to happen. So you can't know what's going to happen. What did you say about Leslie Manville the other day when you said?
Oh yeah, I went to see Oedipus on Broadway, and Leslie Manville is so amazing, and that's why I wanted to see it really badly. But there was about 8 to 10 times where I thought she forgot her line. And I mean, that's like kind of a funny thing to say, but the first time it happened, I was like, okay, maybe she did, right? And then she found it. And then it happened again, and I fell for it again. I'm like sitting there going, oh my God, what's happening? But she was so in the moment. Obviously, she didn't forget her lines. She was just so alive and in the moment of like discovery.
And how many times do you think she's performed that play?
Well, they did it once in the West End, long run, and then they've been doing it here since November.
And she still behaves as if she doesn't know what she's going to say.
Yeah,
and
it's a master class.
Oh my God, that's so great. So that cycles back to us saying there's no such thing as a scene. We don't want you to approach a scene like you're in a scene. Well, if there's no such thing as a scene, then what is there? And we would say the moment of first contact. That's it. Once you have the moment of first contact, you and your partner, everything from there is like pushing a domino. Mm. It's all cause and effect. It's all pinch ouch. It takes care of itself. Now, there are some scenes where when you push that domino, you know what it's like? It's like skiing, downhill skiing. Your job is to, when you're at the top of the hill, you move your skis a little bit at a time and you are going forward. You're self-generating that. You're going forward. But once your skis tip over enough at the top of that hill, gravity takes over. Pretty soon they just tip, and now you're not in control anymore. Now your job is to stay on the skis, So in a complex scene, it's more like ski racing when you have to go around the gates.
Sure.
Right? You're not just going straight down the hill and staying on the skis. You have to maneuver it.
Sure.
You maneuver to the left and go around that gate, and then to the right and go around that gate. So you're not in control of gravity. You're going down that hill because of snow and skis and gravity. But how you go down that hill, that's crafting. You make your decisions about, I'm going to go around this gate, et cetera, et cetera.
You build the hill.
You basically build the hill, and then you go down it as if you didn't build the hill, right? Crafting is making all those decisions and then forgetting about them.
Right.
Which is another thing that young actors can't believe. And I've said this on the podcast before, that I used to teach improvisation to scientists. I would do improv workshops with scientists, the most rational people in the world.
Yeah.
To them, everything has to be proven, and they're very thinking kind of people. I love them, by the way. But To see somebody who makes their living thinking like that, to see them give up and just go with their intuition and their gut, it's very exciting. But when I used to say to them, to try to rattle them a little, I would say to them, why do you think an actor memorizes their lines? And they would be like, well, to remember them. And I would say, no, to forget them. You memorize your lines to forget them.
Yeah.
Because you don't go on stage to speak your lines. You go on stage, you have a moment of first contact, and then everything you do to, for, and off your partner. So in that sense, your partner is pulling your performance out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you leave yourself alone and you let your partner happen to you, your response to them in the form of behavior, that's your performance.
Mm.
You know, I used to say to my students, don't talk to me about your performance because there's no such thing. Performance sounds like you go on stage to perform. But if you thought you did a great performance, thank your partner. They're the one that gave you the strong behavior that you respond to.
Yeah.
And then your response is your performance. Okay.
I also think there's something to be said for, the vocabulary of what we're saying, right? The words we're choosing, because it sounds, oh, well, there's no performance. There's obviously a performance. It's happening on every night except Monday nights and twice on the weekend.
Right.
So I get that, and I'm thinking when I was young, I would have kind of rolled my eyes at that. Or younger, I would have rolled my eyes at that. But I think it's very valuable to know why we're not using certain words and using other words, because they seep into your belief system and your ability to buy the moment, like believe in this set of given circumstances. It's the same thing for why a lot of acting teachers preach, and should, and you do, certainly, Kevin, of not saying, well, my character would do this. No, it's you.
Yeah.
And it's I,
Yeah.
not he or she or they. It's you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So that's just another, I think that is a degree of separating yourself.
Yeah.
And so is saying a performance or a
Yeah.
scene or this, that, and the other.
Absolutely.
You're pushing yourself away. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you don't know how the audience is going to receive it. You just do your blueprint. You have a roadmap or a blueprint, and you stick to it every night. But you're being spontaneous within that blueprint. you
Right.
know?
And also, if you go on stage and you do everything you've rehearsed and you do your first moment, but it's just you, then it's not really a performance. You need the other 8 actors and the sound guy and the lighting team. You can't do it alone. So.
No, absolutely. Well, going back to what Carson said, though, in rehearsal as a director, I do like to ask my actors to speak to me in first person, like, what's going on here for you? Why'd you do that? Well, she said this to me, rather than, my character. I'm like, you're distancing. You're talking intellectually about that person over there somehow. But again, I've worked with professionals who don't do that, and who cares?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. But when I train my actors, I'm like, listen, for the however many hours, 4 or 6 hours that we're here, let's enter a reality and stay there. And I've been in rehearsals sometimes where the actor will just yell at me and stuff, and the assistant director will be like, "Oh, you're going to let them talk to you like that?" And I'm like, "Shut up! They're talking to me as they're like." I had a guy once who was like 30, but he was playing a 16 or 17-year-old, and he really looked young.
Yeah.
Well, in his crafting, he started to go back to when you were 16. You're frustrated by everything. Everybody tells you what to do and what you can and can't do. So when I talked to him as a director, he heard me as like those fucking teachers that talk. And once I said to him, how do you feel about that? He said, I feel fucking angry. How do you think I feel? Like he was yelling at me, but as the character, And people in the room like, oh my God, that actor's yelling at that director. I'm like, no, man, he is living from the neck down.
Yeah.
I'm helping him to enter that reality and stay there for the amount of time that we're in rehearsal.
Yep.
Once rehearsal's over, you go have a beer and forget about it, Come back tomorrow. Okay, so why have this discussion about there's no such thing as a scene? Because, of course, there's such a thing as a scene. You are in a scene, and it means that as we're in the scene together, you are going to reference quite a few things that are going to speak to the world of the play that we're living in. So again, if you say to me, hey, be quiet, I'm coming, I'm drunk and we're brothers and I'm coming in at 1 a.m. and making noise, and you go, hey, be quiet, Grandma Sylvia's sleeping upstairs. She's staying over. Well, we have the same Grandma Sylvia. I have to go, well, who the fuck's Grandma Sylvia and why should I care?
Right.
So I make a choice about Grandma Sylvia. I might be like, who cares about that old bat, Or I could make the decision like, oh shit, I love her so much and I'm really sorry I'm being loud. I don't want to make, right? The clues and the cues are in the script for how I feel about Grandma Sylvia. Is that her name? Did I call her? What did I call her?
Yeah, Grandma Sylvia. That's not a real person.
I didn't know if I changed her name. It is not a real person, it turns out. However, what is an implanted meaning? I'm reading along the script as I'm doing my homework, and Grandma Sylvia gets mentioned. I say to myself, Grandma Sylvia to the character I'm playing is X to me, right? How do I feel about Grandma Sylvia? So if my response is, oh God, I'm so sorry, I don't want to disturb her, then I find somebody in my life who is revered in that way. Does it have to literally be my grandmother? No, it could be. Does it have to be an old person? No, but it could be. But it needs to be somebody that supersedes my immature, drunken behavior. Because if I come in having a good time all drunk, if you mention Grandma Sylvia, I am suddenly going to feel like, oh no. So I might drop in there, I feel like I'm 5 years old, getting scolded. So that's the meaning I drop in. So when Carson says, Grandma Sylvia's sleeping upstairs, be quiet, I suddenly feel 5 years old. Do I act 5 years old? No. Do I act like I feel 5 years old? No. Well, then what did I do? I did homework on the meaning to me of Grandma Sylvia. I daydreamed on it. I pinned it down. I personalized it. Then I forgot about it. And what happens in rehearsal is if I leave myself alone, I'm in the moment with Carson. I don't know what's coming. I don't know Grandma Sylvia's sleeping upstairs. I'm working off Carson. So let's say I come in drunk, I'm laughing my ass off, and he's got a look on his face like he's scolding me. I crack up laughing more. I'm like, you should have come out with me, You're such a schoolboy. It's about Carson. But then he goes, Grandma Sylvia's up. That's the first time I hear it, but also I get it from Carson. And so whatever I get from Carson, mixed with Grandma Sylvia, of course, that's when I have a central nervous system experience of, oh God, I feel terrible that I might wake her up and suddenly I feel 5 years old again. I'm not anticipating it. I can't plan for it. And I sure as hell, when I'm on stage, don't think to myself, here comes that part where I act like I feel 5 years old.
Right.
Because Carson said something to me. That would be pre-planning. It would be illustrating or demonstrating to the audience how I feel. And the worst thing is that it would be anticipating. I'm anticipating that Carson's going to say something that's going to make me feel a certain way. But going all the way back to one of our first lessons, the circle of attention, if I'm in that circle of attention with you, there's no way I'm looking ahead. I'm in the present moment with you. So I genuinely get surprised when you say Grandma Sylvia's sleeping upstairs. Okay.
I have a question, Kevin.
Yes, the guy back there.
So if I understand, if I feel 5 years old in the moment, what do I daydream on to access that place?
Well, I think you're identifying one concrete thing, usually a person, but it could be a circumstance. You could daydream on the thing that makes you feel 5 years old.
Like a boss talking down?
It could be a boss talking down to you. It could be your mother, but Grandma Sylvia is who that is in the world of this play. But it could also be a circumstance if you let yourself like fall in a puddle or something, and then you feel like, how out of control are you when you come home because you fell in a puddle or whatever, right? If that works for you.
It can't be something that's already happened to me, right?
Well, falling in a puddle can be, because that's not the deepest, most traumatic thing in the world. When we say we don't want to do emotional recall, that's not really emotional. I mean, it is in that it makes you feel out of a loss of control, or makes you feel immature, or that you have no agency, But there are I mean, that's a great use of imagination. I'm going to play this like I fell in a puddle, and when I come home, my mom is standing there. You will have a visceral experience of, you're trying to sneak in, and your mom's like, "What the hell? You're in your good clothes or your good shoes." When we were 5, man, that was.
Yeah.
Remember when you could get in trouble?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we look now. It just happened before we were leaving, and someone in our company said, "Didn't you get in trouble for that last time?" We just busted out laughing. We're like, "We're grown ass men. You can't get in trouble when you're a grown man."
I always feel in trouble.
You feel in trouble?
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well, you guys are still a little young. I guess I passed the point where I'm like, who am I going to be in trouble with? Even if I'm in trouble with my wife, who's the only person on earth that fucking matters to me, even if I'm in trouble with her, we've known each other so long, we just laugh. We just start laughing. I'm like, am I in trouble?
The podcast gods.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, another way to think about it, and maybe you'll scold me. Maybe I'll get in trouble,
Maybe
Kevin,
you'll get in trouble.
for not really thinking the right way, the Meisner way. I always think, when would I? I ask that question. Well, when would I?
Of course.
I mean, and that can apply to like crazy circumstance, like the GOAT, right? The Edward Albee play. You got to ask yourself, when would I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have to genuinely ask that, and you have to go to that place.
Well, but here's the
finding
thing about
circumstances.
The goat is a good example. For those of you who don't know, it's about a grown man who has a sexual liaison with a barnyard animal, a goat. And he's in love.
Yeah, no, it's not just sex.
Yeah.
He's like in love with,
He's in love.
with this
He's
goat.
getting something.
Yeah.
He's getting something. So do you say, when would I have sex with a goat? No.
No, you say, when would I feel that way about
When would I
a living?
about something that I know is taboo
Yeah.
societally.
Right.
Because if I didn't think it was taboo, I would just run it up a flagpole.
Right.
But I know I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. Will, you said that with a little too much fervor. Stepmom.
Oh dear.
You don't have thank God you don't have a stepmom. Wait a minute. Yeah. So that's all, right? In other words, how can you play that part if you don't ask yourself a really dangerous question? When could I, or how would I be in the position that the character I'm playing is?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something antisocial or taboo, speaking of Oedipus, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those original, what we consider the original plays of the Western world, those Greek plays, that's what they there's like guys who kill their daughter
Yeah.
in order to have success in war.
Yeah.
You know? You're not supposed to kill your daughter, guys. So if you play that part, you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I have to justify that I do it in order to win the Trojan War or whatever. Well, that's pretty big. What am I finding as an as if for that?
Yeah, it's also interesting, not to go down like a different rabbit hole here. I just find it interesting thinking about Oedipus and the goat specifically. Those two plays do not work if it's just about incest or bestiality.
Oh God, no.
Because that's not what they're about.
No, that would be salacious.
Yeah.
And what's great is you never have to tell anybody where you went.
100%.
That's a huge we should talk about
You
that.
see the play.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
They don't know what you're using.
have to.
That's-
You have to find something akin.
Yeah.
And you
Won't work.
talk to yourself like an actor, and you find that thing that if you said it out loud, you'd be mortified. But you two, both very brave actors, you know what you're working from personally. It's a daydream. It's not a real thing.
Right.
We were just laughing, right? Will goes, I don't have a stepmom. Yeah, it's not real. But you go, what? Yeah, but what would be that thing that gives me some kind of comfort in my life? But if anyone knew about it, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'd be mortified, horrified. So the good news is, I'm talking to young actors out there. No one should ever ask you what it is.
Yeah.
If a teacher or a director ever says to you, "What are you using there?" It's none of their fucking business.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, it's artistic, so it's yours in an artistic way. But two, sometimes when you say it out loud, that's the end of it. Once you say it out
Yeah.
loud, it's over.
100%.
You know, so nobody should ever say, "What are you using there?" for your as if. No, none of your business. No.
I also think there's something to be said about the mystery of it for other people. Once you give it, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like the magician giving away his secrets in a way. It's
What? Who wants to know?
nobody wants, and we said this in the previous episode, no one cares about what you did.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's working, they shouldn't.
Exactly.
No.
They just want to see the result of it.
That's
yeah.
right.
It's like the analogy we used in the last episode about athletes.
Oh,
We're not
yeah.
watching how they practice.
Nope.
And this is what we're doing. This is you're preparing for the game.
That's right. And
So-
the reason you're doing it is for the people who are there in the present moment,
Yep.
not
So-
how you got there.
Go win the game.
Go win the game.
Yeah. Well, play to win, fight to win.
Yeah, and if you don't go there, the audience doesn't get the experience.
Yeah.
No, they're going to see you playing at something, or demonstrating or illustrating or God forbid, indicating something.
You're literally robbing the audience of the experience if you don't do your job and go there in the meanings. And personalize it.
Yeah, but think about it this way. One line of dialogue could have 4 or 5 meanings in it.
Yeah.
Your job is to take a piece of dialogue apart and go, holy shit, there are 4 or 5 things in here that I have to personalize, because nobody in life walks around. What if I came home and you go, hey, Grandma Sylvia's sleeping up there? If I was like, Grandma Sylvia, what? Who's that? No, never in life do you not know.
Right. Of course.
So you can't speak on stage if you don't have all the details of a reality.
Yeah.
I had a Shakespeare teacher who said we should know the lines so well that if she called us in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
picked up the phone, and if she said the cue, we answered.
Yeah.
Half asleep. That should be the meanings too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
If I called you at 4 a.m. and woke you from a dead sleep and threw you your cue, you should answer right away, right? That's because when you're dead asleep, you're in your unconscious, and that's when it should pop. In fact, I think all actors should be on stage as if they're in a dream state, like in their unconscious.
Yeah.
When it's over, you should go, what happened?
Yeah.
I remember in class, Kevin, and this sticks with me, is you said if you remember it, you sucked.
Yeah.
Which is extreme, but it's true. I do find it to be true that it means you're in your head. It means you're deciding how it's going if you're remembering it.
Yeah. How could you? What are you watching yourself? If you get off stage and go, what a great performance I gave tonight, I remember every moment, chances are you weren't good.
Well, because you were thinking about every moment.
You were thinking
While it was
about every
happening.
moment, and you were sort of critiquing and analyzing how it was going
Yeah.
as it was going.
Well, and that's kind of, I guess, the unsexy part about implanted meanings, because it sounds kind of fun and oh wow, and it is fun, but it's not anything to be patted on the back for. It's your job,
Yep.
and the point is that why should an audience member pay $100 for something they could have either watched a movie instead or bought the play for $12.95 at the drama bookshop and read it?
And had to play in their own imagination.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, the unsexy thing about implanted meanings is if you forget the gasoline on one of them,
Yeah.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
And you rob the audience.
right.
Well, here's the thing. The unsexy part, right? You don't take credit for it. Your
Right.
partner pulled it out of you.
Exactly.
And, I told you this, that my teacher Maggie used to say, acting is like a car wreck. It happens to you. So when it's over, you should, like, if you're working really well in a play from curtain up to curtain down, when it's over, you should be like, what happened? I kind of know I was up there, but I don't remember it because I wasn't living it through the conscious mind, And yeah, so, well, but then let's go back to implanted meanings and what are they exactly? You have to identify things that come up as the scene goes on, as the play goes on. But let's talk about a scene. Your job is to do your homework on that thing, to daydream on it, and plant it in there. That's why we call them implanted. You have to plant the meaning in there. But then you have to trust forgetting about it so that when your partner brings it up, it hits you. That is not a small feat.
No.
To be able to trust forgetting your crafting. But here's the thing. In rehearsal, let's say, if your meanings don't pop, there's only two reasons why. One, you haven't crafted it. It came and went. The meaning came and went, and it didn't pop. Or you're not listening.
Yeah.
Because I'll work with actors and go, what happened there? The meaning didn't pop. And they'll go, well, it's airtight crafted. And I'll say, well, then the problem is you were not an open vessel on stage. You didn't let your partner pull it out of you. You were defended in some way. You were tight. You were anxious. There was tension, something. So maybe you did all that great homework, but it only matters if you then forget about it, leave yourself alone, and let your partner pull it out of you, right? So you can go, I don't get it. I really crafted the hell out of that meaning. Yeah, but then you get on stage with your partner and you don't let them in. You don't let them happen to you.
Well, and we're getting to a point now where we've talked about so many things. I think you can kind of start to see how this is there's a lot of moving parts for an actor, right? So going back to what Kevin said at the beginning of the episode, you memorize your line to forget it, right? If you're thinking about what your line is, then you can't possibly be allowing yourself to be in the moment to allow your crafting to pop because you're thinking about the next line. Yeah. So that's where now we're getting to a part where we've talked about enough where you start to see, if you're not rock solid on this thing, then this other thing can't work. You know?
If you pull one string, the whole thing goes apart.
There's that great quote by my favorite, Mr. Philip Seymour Hoffman, where he says acting is like juggling plates behind your back or something like that. It's like nobody understands, but it's impossible to do, and you're just trying to make sure none of them fall down and break. You know?
So, what's our analogy for implanted meanings? Will sort of hinted at it a little bit. An implanted meaning is like a puddle of gasoline. It's like a little puddle of gasoline. Well, so what about it? Nothing. It's just sitting there. It's dormant. But if somebody should come along and strike a match and touch it to the puddle of gasoline, it bursts into flames, right? So you daydream on all these meanings. They're in there, but they're dormant. But they are in there.
Right.
And they do have tremendous meaning to you. But nobody's touching a lit match to them. Right.
Nor are you going in your day-to-day making sure to expose all the puddles of gasoline.
You don't walk around going, oh, my God, I sure have a lot of puddles of gasoline. I hope nobody comes along with a match or something.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about this. It's like when you and I are walking down the street and an adorable little dog,
right,
10-pound dog, jumps out and just barks with this cute little adorable bark. And you're like, oh, what an adorable doggy. But I jump a mile, I scream and start running, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one that got bit by a dog when I was 12.
Right.
So I'm, quote unquote, triggered. But do I walk around all day going, I have planted the meaning of a dog having bit me when I was 12, and I'm walking around all day going, a dog bit me, a dog bit me. No. It's lying dormant in there. But it is in there. It did happen. But it would take a little dog to jump out and bark at me for me to jump a mile. You know? So when you're crafting a role, you have a bunch of implanted meanings. Your partner in the scene mentions a name. You know, they mention a place or a location. Hey, you know what we're going to do, man? I'm going to take you to the park. Remember we used to go to that park when you were a kid? And right away you're like, oh, the park. But as an actor, you're only reading words on a page. The park. You know, what the fuck? It means nothing literally until you circle it and go, the park.
What is that?
What is that to me? But I'm not sitting there going, the park, the park, the park.
Right.
I'm sitting there, you and I are just eating a hamburger or something. I'm like, hey, you know what we're going to do after this? What? I'm going to take you to the Van Saun Park, which is an actual park around about where I lived when I was a kid. Had animals and a little train and all. As I'm talking about it, I'm remembering the details about it. A little train that would go all around the whole grounds and everything. So if I said to you, I'm going to take you to the Van Saun Park, you would be like, boom, you'd pop it in. But for me, let's say you said to me, I'm going to take you to the park. I might circle it and write in the margin of my script, Van Saun Park.
Right.
because it's personal to me.
Right.
I know what that means. But again, dormant puddle of gasoline,
Yeah.
unless you touch a match to it. Well, what's the match? You said Van Horn Park. I mean, you said the park.
Yeah.
And to me, it bursts into flames, Van Horn Park.
And I think there's something to be said for this happens a lot in our daily lives. I mean, anything like taste or smell, it brings you back to a whole other. Like the other day, I was in a grocery store and there was those kid cuisines. I don't know. Will definitely knows what those are. But I hadn't thought about that in like 15 years. But then when I saw it, it wasn't, oh my God, kid cuisine. It made me think of being 5. And then I remembered I had this like Batman TV. I hadn't thought but I got that from being in a grocery store, and I haven't thought about any of those things in 15 years.
Well, that goes back to what you said last episode. Walk around with your senses open.
Right.
Live a life, man.
Yeah. And things pop.
And when was the last time you thought about a Batman TV? You hadn't thought about it.
Right. No.
And something triggers it, and there you are.
Yeah, I'm not even sure there's a photo of it. Like I genuinely,
Right.
It's just crazy how that happens.
Absolutely.
And so all that to say, it's not hard, and we do it without trying. You just have to apply it to the character.
Yes, but it's not.
Well,
let's put it
it's
this
not-
way.
yeah,
It's simple, but it's
Yeah.
not easy.
There you go.
Because here's what happens, especially with young actors. They bring their performance on stage with them, and they think acting is performing. And also, they don't want to miss a meaning. That's another thing. Young actors, they really, really critique their own work, even as they're doing it. And they'll come off stage, and I'll be like, that was really good work. And they'll name the one moment they missed,
Mm-hmm.
You're going to perseverate on the one moment you missed? Well, yeah, it's because you want to be good, and you want to be great. You want to be perfect. And by the way, A, there's no such thing as perfection. And B, why the fuck would you want it? Like, why would you want perfection? So that's it. You did it. Why come back tomorrow?
Right.
Also, perfection is not for you to say.
Yeah.
How the hell do you know?
For you.
How do you know what perfect is? Somebody else is receiving your work.
Yep. You
Not
can't.
you.
You can't control how great something is or how perfect it is. You
No.
can only control how competent you are.
Mamet talks about in his book that he hated when actors would tell him what they thought of their performance on the night, because it was usually not what he thought. When somebody was really said, I suck, he was like, no, that was great. I wish you didn't say that.
No, the truth is,
And vice versa.
Yeah.
yeah, and they think they're great and they suck. Honestly, I think, to make a blanket statement, actors are really the last person who should critique their own work. They're just not good at it. They don't, believe me, as a director, it happens all the time. I'll say that was the best, run through you had. They're like, I thought it was terrible. They never know when they're good or bad. But I think because it should be unconscious.
Yeah.
So if you were, I'll say to them, that was a great performance. They'll be like, I don't remember any of it. I don't know what I did well because I don't remember it. I'm like, that's why it was good.
Yeah.
So you're part of a bigger thing. It's not about you.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
You
it's
can be telling the story perfectly and think you're sucking, but you told the story because you can't see the story. You're in it.
You're way, way too concerned about yourself. You're making yourself way too important.
mm-hmm.
You're telling me that you're part of a group effort, but when it's over, the only thing you remember is what you did and
Yeah.
who you were, or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's why forgetting is important, because it's tricky, right? And I personally, of implanted meanings, I avoid, because it is so personal. You really have to go and investigate your entire life and what everything means to you. And it's usually, in drama, it's usually the most pressing things that you'd rather not in your daily life go to, but you have to.
Yeah, it's the job you signed up for.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, that you go, I don't really want to do. The last thing I craft is implanted meanings because they're so personal. I don't want to. But listen, it's all implanted meanings, though. It's all implanted meanings. The whole script is meanings that come up along the way.
Yep.
Other than the first moment, other than what you prep on when you daydream, right? So it's your job to go through the whole script, circle those things that are meanings, people, places, and things, you and I have talked about this. You're playing somebody whose mother is important to them in the script.
Sure.
And if you're like, my mom's not that important to me, she abandoned me when I was like 3, I don't really even know her. You go, but I have a beloved dog. And so the dog has the meaning. But that means you drop in that anytime somebody says mom, it triggers dog, But does that mean when you're on stage, you stop in your head and you go, mom equals dog? No, you can't. It becomes habitualized so that the meaning of mom just
elicits the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I was saying before, and we'll wrap up. Today's episode is not going to be that long. To wrap up, it's hard for young actors because they can't believe me when I say, do the homework, daydream on it, drop it in, and forget about it. But it only works practically if, when you're working too far off your partner, you get out of the way and you open the channel and you let them happen to you experientially, because they are they're responsible for pulling your meaning out of you in the form of your response. If you don't let them in, you're not going to respond to how you're being treated. It's very difficult for young actors because they go on and in their head, they're like, here comes that thing that means something and I'm going to act it. But you have to trust moment to moment to moment to moment.
Well, and it's technically easier to be worried about, like using your example, being drunk, it's late, where's my key? Oh, where am I going to put my shoes? Oh, I got to go to bed. I'm got to get up early at 9 a.m. And then your partner says, hey, Grandma Sylvia's up. And then okay. That you gave yourself that experience. You didn't have to generate anything.
That's right.
Whereas if you're worried about finding that information out, it's harder. It's just harder to do that, So I think there's a practicality to that.
It's actually It's actually easier to not have to act everything.
Right.
Just respond.
Exactly.
But your response has to be, connected to and in tangent to the homework you did.
Of course.
Because otherwise, nothing will bother.
Right.
There will be no behavior. That's the result of experience.
Yeah.
So that's it. Sometimes, by the way, you co-craft, like you and I might co-craft Grandma Sylvia.
Right.
She's our grandmother, and you and I could, if you have the kind of partner professionally. Sometimes they're like, dude, don't talk to me about the work. You do your work and I'll do mine, and I'll meet you in rehearsal. That's great. But sometimes if you have that kind of partner where you know each other well enough and you go, hey, let's concretize Grandma Sylvia a little bit. Now, that's perfectly fine, because then it could help the two of us like crack up laughing over some detail, because we both have the same Grandma Sylvia in certain details. But also, this is really important. Your Grandma Sylvia and my Grandma Sylvia don't at all have to be the same person.
Right.
They don't at all. You have yours and I have mine. And when Grandma Sylvia comes up, I'm pinched toward the way I've crafted Grandma Sylvia, and you're pinched the way you crafted it.
Yeah. And that's totally normal. I mean, people have different opinions on the same person.
Yeah, in real life, all the time. All right.
Also, some things you this maybe you can talk to, Kevin, but some things you understand so viscerally that actually daydreaming more on it is taking away from what's already there that you shouldn't touch because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you work as an actor, the better you get at that, because you feel like you're not working. But
it's in your body.
Yeah, but what's so bad? I've told you guys this. An actor will call me up or email me 10 years after I trained them. Like, I feel like I'm cheating. I'm in a play and I'm barely crafting and everything's just flowing through me. I'm like, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? You understand it viscerally. You're doing your homework. You're just not sitting down and doing it.
You have to be honest with yourself and your body, though.
But also, you make a good point, Will, that sometimes you could dig into a thing that you already understand sort of viscerally and inherently. You can undo it. Like, I'll tell actors sometimes, stop crafting. You've gone to the thing and now you're beyond it because they want to be perfect, or they're like, I got to work hard. I'm like, why don't you work smart instead of working hard?
Yeah.
Okay. So to wrap it up, what are implanted meanings? Those are the meanings within the text. They're the things that come up on page 6 and page 8. You plan ahead for them. You don't anticipate them, but they all have particular meaning. Your job is to drop them in there through daydreaming, but they will not pop in rehearsal or performance unless you are open to your partner, because they're the one that pulls it out of you.
Yeah.
Young actors cannot believe that. But it also brings up the question, what do I do if my partner sucks? And that's a whole other conversation. Because you go, I am open to my partner, but they're like a block of wood up there. And nothing in their behavior is truthful, so it's not pulling my behavior out. That's a whole other conversation.
We could have an episode on that.
We will.
Not just about like your partner's bad, but also if your partner works completely differently, or
Yes.
your partner's non-existent if you're doing a monologue. I mean, we could have a whole episode on that.
Well, listen, monologues, someone wrote to us just recently about that. I daydream or I prep, and then when I come in, because I had said when you're alive with meaning, as soon as you connect to your partner, it's about them and they're pulling stuff out of you. Well, what if you're doing a monologue? There isn't a partner, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a conversation with the person.
Or if you're doing a film and the camera is
absolutely
the stand-in for your.
Well, thank God for imagination, eh? People who don't trust the imagination. Okay, I have no idea if we said anything that's worthwhile.
Probably not.
There are probably people out there more confused and they turn this stupid podcast on. Well, as we said at the beginning, if anything that we said today or in any other episode piques your interest and you want to write to us about it, whether you agree with us and want to sort of solidify some of this stuff, or if you think you get it, but you're not quite sure how to put it into practice, please write to us. We love to hear from you.
Do it.
And we will write back.
Yep.
And sometimes we meet with people. I mean, Carson and I have Zoomed with listeners. Somebody will write, and I'll be like, we can't answer that question in an email. So we'll just we'll set up a Zoom call with that person.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk to them.
Yeah.
And then they look at us and go, wow, you guys really exist.
Yeah, we do. Isn't that weird?
I'm talking to you. I thought you just existed in the podcast land. A brain in a jar, but I'm actually talking to you on Zoom.
You're not AI generated?
No. All right, men. Good stuff. Thank you.
Yep.
See you next time.
Toodles.